Everyone loves the idea of love and romance. In fact, love and romance inspires the art, it inspires poetry, music, books. How many songs are written about love? We value and want that magical experience of falling for someone, literally being knocked off our socks and getting out of our head and feeling this feeling that we've never felt before. It is what people want more than anything. Love makes the world go round, right? So, how do you know the difference between sexual chemistry and real love? And I'm going to talk about that in this video. Now, you often hear people talk about compatibility. Now, compatibility is a key to make a relationship happy and healthy. Yeah, doesn't sound overly romantic, does it? It sounds quite boring when you think of that, oh my God, amazing experience of falling in love and losing your mind for someone, right? So it's all too easy. Like being under the influence of chemistry is intoxicating. It's wonderful. And it's all too easy to lose yourself in that excitement and in that passion that you long for. And did you know that nature intends it that way to ensure the survival of the human race? That doesn't sound so romantic, does it? But the chemicals that are released when you fall for someone, you have chemistry. So we're talking about just having chemistry. It's like being under the influence of drugs. It literally shuts down the left frontal cortex of your brain in relation to the person you fall for. How amazing is that? It releases dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and you literally can't see the red flags. You can't see anything you don't like about them. And in fact, maybe you even see it, but you just don't care because, oh my God, this feeling is just taking me out of any logic and any sound mind. And it literally does that. If you've ever had that chemical reaction, it overrides everything else. And look, I find singles want that feeling. They want that feeling. They want to meet someone. They want to feel something they've not felt before. They want to feel that magic spark of chemistry. Now, the definition of spark and chemistry is, that undefined thing. It really is undefined why we feel chemistry for some people rather than others. And it's no wonder we're a generation of overthinkers that we would want to feel that amazing chemistry because it gets you out of your head. It gets you into the experience, which is exactly what you want. Now, also people crave chemistry because it's hard to resist. That chemical release that you have is the same as being addicted to drugs. It is so addictive. It's like being I can't say my words, being addicted to cocaine or heroin. You literally, if someone cuts off your supply, you can't do enough to get that supply back. In fact, you will do anything to get that supply back. And, that's why it's so important not to confuse the spark of chemistry for true love. Now, I want to explain, as much as chemistry is mysterious, there is a weird fact of where chemistry comes from. And I'm going to give you a bit of a chemistry lesson today of why we feel that magic spark for some people rather than others. And it comes down to how our brain is wired. We've got neuroconnections in our brain between 0 and 5. And between 0 and 5, our minds are sponges. They literally soak up everything around us. We learn from our parents what things are, how to eat, how to walk, how to crawl. We also learn from whoever brings us up what love feels like. Now, like I said, we're a sponge. Our brain doesn't intellectual, it doesn't make up stories of what it means. It literally absorbs the experience and gets hardwired into your neuroconnections. So you end up with a love programming that comes from your childhood. Now, depending on your childhood, depending on what your feeling of what love is. Now, even in the best homes, you can feel ignored, you can feel like your needs aren't met, not seen, or maybe you feel you have to act a certain way to be loved. So you will have this whole subconscious definition of what love is going on. So say if you grew up in a healthy home where you were valued, you were supported, your needs were met, and you've seen healthy love, you're likely to have a healthy chemistry working in your life and being drawn to people who are equally healthy. The other thing applies if you've come from an unhealthy home, okay? If you came from a family where you were ignored, where you weren't supported, where were controlled, or maybe it was toxic and abusive, that will feel like love to you. And when you grow up, as much as you're consciously going, I want, a supportive family, I want someone that's kind and caring, you'll be subconsciously drawn to that childish definition of love. And like I said, this all happens from our unconscious mind of who we are drawn to. Our brain likes what's familiar. It's worked out what love looks like. And when you meet someone that matches that, you're magnetically drawn to them. In fact, the pull is irresistible. And that's why you can end up in some toxic relationships from chemistry. And like I said, even if you come from those good homes, it could be love is hard to earn. You have to be a good girl to be loved. You could be attracted as a woman to controlling men. Maybe men had a bossy mother, so they like bossy women. Whatever that is kind of hardwired into us. And even though we think we might be choosing a quite different person, chemistry will draw us to what is familiar at some level, and you might not even see it for a month or two, which is a really interesting fact. So when you have some of these relationships, say you're drawn to someone, maybe you were drawn to someone for you love was hard work or controlling, so you're subconsciously drawn to someone who's controlling, you'll have that amazing chemistry going on where you're out of your head and you're not thinking and you're just feeling. So you have highs up here, and then you might have massive lows where you're reminded of how that felt to be controlled, to not have a choice. So, you know, those type of relationships that come from our wounds, from our childhood, will be like a roller coaster with massive ups and massive downs. And again, because you've got the massive ups, you've got that addiction of the chemicals going on, the dopamine, the oxytocin, the serotonin, but you've also got the massive lows. So you can find yourself getting caught up in this toxic loop that's a roller coaster, right? Now, chemistry lasts from 3 months to 3 years. When the chemistry wears off, it's like you wake up and you're no longer under the influence of that chemistry. And that's the point where people find them saying, what the hell am I doing in this relationship? Why am I here? Because literally, it's like they've sobered up. It's like waking up with a hangover. You've got the bad feelings, but you've got none of the good feelings. And that's when people will break up from a relationship. But it also explains why people get stuck in these on again, off again relationships, because of the massive high hit that you get. And look, after you break up from some of those relationships, a normal, stable relationship based on genuine connection and compatibility can seem really boring, because it's not a roller coaster with excitement and then the lows. So you kind of get addicted to that. So normal supportive doesn't feel as good. Now, I say this often, it's quite addictive, trying to prove that you're good enough, trying to prove that someone should love you. And you can get caught up in that, but it's not the same as someone who genuinely loves you, who has your back, who will support you regardless of anything. So how do you change that? It's an interesting question. The first step is that wonderful awareness that this is the pattern that you're caught in, that you can see chemistry for what it is. And once you start to heal some of those wounds and be aware of your patterns and your conditioning, you can rewire your love programming. You can really look at what you want and how you want to feel in a healthy relationship. You can dream of what that feels like. and create this vivid picture of it, and it helps you create change. And when you work through that, it allows you to let healthy love in. In fact, you will find you're no longer attracted to the same unhealthy people that you were to begin with. You know, that magnetic pull, you've changed it to be drawn to someone else. Whereas, you know, you're often drawn to someone, like I say, that matches your wounds or can wound you in the same way. I mean, a lot of relationships are about healing and solving your problem. But when you put yourself back in the same position where you're going to get hurt and, you know, put down and undermined, that doesn't help you heal anything. You know, it can just get you in the loop that I'm not good enough, I'm not worthwhile, I don't deserve to be happy, all of those unhelpful, unresourceful thoughts. Now, as a relationship coach, I do work with people to change this pattern so you can recognize the difference between true love and just sexual chemistry. You know, you can create healthy chemistry with someone that will make you happy. And you do have to have attraction to have a relationship, but people often find themselves in this toxic loop of being attracted to people who will just make them unhappy. Now, if you want to know more about this, send me a personal message. If if you found value from this video, please click on the red subscribe button. And look, if you want to work with me, I have great results at helping people change some of these patterns. And sometimes we can't see what we're doing or what we're creating because it's just happening unconsciously. Anyway, my name is Debbie Rivers. I'm a relationship coach, and I hope whatever you're doing is putting a smile on your face. Take care.